Hello, I'm Elia, and I'm going to be talking about concept artists. Concept artists start the initial process of designing and drawing things like characters, environments, levels, enemies, weapons, vehicles, and more. Their work is used by the rest of the artist teams to create assets for the game. Once a design is completed, the other artists use it as a reference to create models, visuals, and animations. There's always a need for concept artists, because not only do games need them, but movies, animations, TV shows, and many more also need a concept artist. Without a concept artist to create references for their team, something that may seem like a simple task could produce as many ideas and styles as there are artists. The YouTuber Punisher recently demonstrated this when he put out a challenge to animate an infinite journey with only a few requirements, which included having the same camera placement, the mode of transportation having to move to the right, and having both a character and a window. He received nearly 400 submissions, and every one was completely different from each other. The range of works created looked amazing, but would be devastating to any project where consistency is needed. And that is why concept artists are important.
Hi, I'm Oksana, and I would like to start with a general definition of a 3D artist and what is the scope of this job. 3D artist produces the graphics, effects, or animations using specific software for 3D visualizations, rendering, modeling, or animation. In my part of the presentation, I would like to focus on 3D character artist job. The character artists work closely with creative and technical teams to drive the visual quality of the game and to maintain a consistent character style. Because today, competitive gaming market players expect high standard graphics, and it is up to character artists to deliver on the overall artistic quality of the game. 3D character artists uses concept designs to sculpt models, much like a traditional sculptor will do, but only digitally. It typically begins with just a simple tiny polygon cube, which is then shaped by adding more subdivisions and manipulating vertices. Polygon modeling is used in collaboration with another technique called digital sculpting, and using programs like ZBrush, Blender, Maya, and many more. Along with concept and character artists, a huge role in game dev industry also plays an environmental artist who is literally creates a whole new world for players. So I think it's high time to pass the floor to Kevin.
Hello, I'm going to be going over some key points that every environmental artist is expected to exercise in their professional career. The first point I will be covering is that all environmental artists are required to work collaboratively with multiple different people who have multiple different skill sets. And this can be an example of them making a weapon of an environment and then picking it apart and critiquing it, telling them that they don't like this, they do like this, and that is just one part to becoming and being a professional environmental artist. The second point I will be covering is that environmental artists create pieces of art that a player should be able to look at and feel through the screen. These feelings should all be conveyed in lots of different ways and work towards the player experience. The examples of feelings that work towards the player experience are the feelings of hate, disgust, love, nostalgia, fear, anger, relief, and progression for certain areas that are created. My best example is a game like Dark Souls. You finally beat the boss, you see the bonfire, you get to get all your health back, you get to level up. Or, you keep getting beat down
and dying, and you have to keep coming back to the same bonfire and looking at the same exact area. You have the same exact tree. You keep spawning and you keep seeing that tree, and you start to get upset.
That you can't get past this point, so you have to keep coming back to this bonfire and seeing the same exact leaves on the ground, the same exact tree in the same exact spot every single time. And they are created that way specifically to do that to you, and I think that is a really good example of environmental design. The last point I will be covering is the way that an environmental artist uses physics to help convey the emotions within the game towards the player. So my examples are the way the light touches a landscape or moves across a landscape depending on like a day or night cycle instituted in the game, the way that the landscape is made with the mountains high, the mountains low, the hills high, the hills low, the foliage moving, or you're walking around and you brush up against a bush and what could be in there depending on the feel of the game that helps convey an emotion, or the way the wind blows on a tree with dead branches or full of leaves, or maybe it breaks a branch off. Maybe you're walking around and you step on a stick in a broken old forest and the wind is blowing, it's dark, it's raining. Ways that real life physics can affect an environment also affect how the player can feel within it. And I think that is a really good example that every environmental artist practices that makes the work that they create very professional.